Hello everybody, it's me, Susan, and I'm here to read you another story. Would you like that? Fabulous, let's do it. Today's story is one that could be described as a classic. So that means a story that's been around for quite a long time and has been read and loved by many, many people. And the story is called Dogger. And it's by this lady here, Shirley Hughes. She also drew the pictures, so she's the author and the illustrator. And you can see on the front of the book, there's this gold circle here. It looks a little bit like a medal. And that's because it's won a prize, the Kate Greenaway Medal. So lots of people think that this is a really good story. I hope you do too. Because even though it's a classic, it's been around for a while, I think it's still as good as it ever was. And you can see on the cover here, there's a little boy. And I wonder who this might be. I think this might be Dogger. The story's called Dogger. And that looks a little bit like a toy dog, doesn't it? Well, shall we read the story? It's a good one. Here we go. Once there was a soft brown toy called Dogger. One of his ears pointed upwards, so it did, you can see, and one flopped over. His fur was worn in patches because he was quite old. He belonged to Dave. Have any of you got a toy that's a little bit worn from being cuddled so much? I know I do. I still got the toy I used to cuddle when I was little. Dave, here he is, was very fond of Dogger. He took him everywhere. Sometimes he gave him rides in a trolley. Sometimes he pulled him along on a lead made of string, just like a real dog. And when it was cold, he wrapped him up in a bit of blanket. Look, there he is, wrapping him up, keeping him cosy. He looks after Dogger very well, doesn't he? Now and again, Dave's mum said that Dogger was getting much too dirty. She showed Dave how to wash him in a bowl of soapy water, and then they hung him up by his tail on the washing line to dry. Here you go. He's being hung out. Dave's baby brother, Joe, liked hard toys. He liked putting them in his mouth and biting on them because he was getting teeth. If any of you have got a baby in your family who's getting teeth, you'll know that they like to chew on things. My daughter is getting her teeth and she likes hard toys too. Dave's big sister, Bella, took 7 teddies to bed with her every night. 7 teddies? What? She had to sleep right up against the wall to stop herself from falling out. So she is, can you see? There she is, squashed against the wall, with all of her 7 teddies tucked in beside her. Wow. But Dave liked only Dogger. One afternoon, Dave and Mum set out to collect Bella from school. Mum took Joe in the pushchair and Dave took Dogger. Next to the school gate where all the mums were waiting was a playing field. Some men with ladders were putting up coloured flags. Mum said that there was going to be a summer fair to get things to buy, to get money to buy things for the school. Dave pushed Dogger up against the railings to show him what was going on. And there he is, pushing Dogger up against the railings so that he can see all the preparations for the summer fair. Just then, the children started to come out of school. An ice cream van came round the corner playing a tune. Oh, do you ever hear the ice cream van coming? Something you might hear in summertime. Bella ran up with her satchel flying. There's her satchel there. Mum, can we have an ice cream? Mum gave her the money for 2 cones. Joe didn't have a whole ice cream to himself, because he was too dribbly. Yes, you don't want to give a baby a whole ice cream. It would be very messy, wouldn't it? They would have it everywhere. On the way home, Dave walked beside the pushchair, giving Joe licks off his ice cream. Joe kicked his feet about and shouted for more in between licks. At tea time, Dave was rather quiet. In the bath, he was even quieter. At bedtime, he said, I wonder what he's going to say. I wonder why he's quiet. What do you think is wrong? At bedtime, he said, I want Dogger. But Dogger was nowhere to be found. There he is in his pyjamas. And you can see he's looking really quite upset and worried, isn't he? Mum looked under the bed. She looked behind the cupboard. And she searched in the kitchen. And underneath the stairs. Dave watched anxiously through the banisters. See, there he is, sitting on the stairs, feeling quite anxious, worrying about whether Dogger's going to be there. Joe watched through the bars of his cot. There he is. Bella joined in to look for Dogger. She turned out her own toy box in case he was there, but he wasn't. When Dad came home, see, there's Bella helping to look. When Dad came home, he looked for Dogger too. He searched in the shed and down the garden path with a torch. So there's Dad with his torch, looking to see if they can find Dogger anywhere. But Dogger was quite lost. Dave was very, very sad when he went to bed. Bella kindly lent him one of her teddies. So there he is. It was one of Bella's teddies to go to sleep with. But it was not the same thing as Dogger. Dave kept waking up in the night and missing him. The next day was Saturday, and they all went to the school summer fair. The playing field was full of stalls and sideshows. This is a really big picture, but look. You can see there's a big field and there's lots of stalls and different things to do at the summer fair. There was a fancy dress parade. You can see all the different things people have dressed up as. Can you recognise anything? My favourite is the pirate over here. You can see he's got his eye patch and earrings and scarf on his head. But there's lots of nice costumes there. Which one did you like best? That's a good one too. Then there were sports with an egg and spoon race. Look, see, they've all got their eggs balanced on their spoon and they've got to run as fast as they can without dropping their egg. It's really tricky. A wheelbarrow race. Look, has anyone ever done that to you? Where you have to pretend to be a wheelbarrow and they grab your legs and you've got to walk on your hands. That's tricky as well. And a father's race. Look, you see all the daddies running. Some are faster than others, aren't they? Bella was very good at races. She won the three-legged race with her friend Barbara. Wouldn't you like to go in for a race? They asked Dave. But Dave didn't feel like racing. He was missing Dogger too much. So there's Bella and her friend Barbara winning. And then they're talking to Dave, asking if he wants to have a race, but no. He's too sad. Then another very exciting thing happened to Bella. She won first prize in a raffle. Fantastic. Let's see what she won. It was a huge yellow teddy bear. Look, there she is getting the prize. Wearing a beautiful blue silk bow. He was almost as big as Dave. Wow, that is a big teddy, isn't it? Dave didn't like that teddy at all. At that moment, he didn't even really like Bella very much either, because she kept on winning things. He went off on his own to look at the stalls. One lady had a toy stall full of knitted ducks and cars and baby dolls and bonnets. And there, at the very back of the stall, behind a lot of other toys, was... I can just see. Can you see in this picture? One ear sticking up and one ear pointing down. Who could that be? Dogger! There's Dogger, look. He's for sale on the stall. He was wearing a ticket that said 5 pence. Can you see the number 5 there? There were a lot of people around the stall. Dave tried to explain to the lady that it was his Dogger, who had got lost and somehow been put on the stall by mistake. But she wasn't listening. He looked in his pocket. He had 3 pence, but that wasn't enough, because he needs 5 pence, and he only had 3. So he needed 2 more pence, and he doesn't have it. He ran to find Mum and Dad to ask them to buy Dogger back at once. Dave went everywhere in the crowd, but he couldn't see Mum and Dad. He thought he was going to cry. At last he found Bella by the cakes. When she heard about Dogger, she and Dave ran back to the toy stall as fast as they could. Look, there he is telling his sister all about it. But something terrible had happened. Dogger had just been bought by a little girl. See, look, there she is, walking off with him, looking very happy. She was already walking off with him. Dave began to cry. Bella ran after her. She's a good sister, isn't she? And she tried to explain that Dogger really belonged to Dave, and could they please buy him back? She doesn't look very pleased about that, does she, the little girl? The little girl said, no! She said that she had bought Dogger with her own money and that she wanted him. She held on to him very tightly. Then Bella did something very kind. Can you guess what she did? Let's see if you're right. Would you like to swap this teddy for my brother's dog then? She asked. Look, her huge teddy that she'd won in the raffle, she offers to swap it. Right away the little girl stopped crying and began to smile. She held out Dogger to Dave, took the big teddy instead, and went off with him in her arms. Then Dave smiled too. He hugged Dogger and he hugged Bella round the waist. Thank you, Bella, he said. Look, there he is, back with his Dogger again. And the other girl's happy too, because she's got a lovely big teddy bear. That night, Dave had Dogger in bed beside him. Bella was practicing somersaults on her bed, look. Shall you miss that big teddy? Dave asked her. No, said Bella. I didn't like him much, really. He was too big and his eyes were too staring. Anyway, if I had another teddy in my bed, there wouldn't be room for me. And she's right. She was already sleeping right up against the wall as it was. And that's the end. And there's one more picture in the book where you can see Bella tucked up with her 7 teddies and Dave happy because he's got Dogger back. And that's the end. So if you have a special toy, give them an extra squeeze when you go to sleep with them tonight. Okay, well, I'll be back to read you some more stories soon, and I hope you have a lovely, lovely day. Bye bye.